Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon on this day. Today is I believe it's the 27th, Sunday, first day of the month, first day of the week, I should say. I did a video about a week or so, and I titled it, or it's time to come out, right? And I just want to I don't know if you want to consider this like part two of that or whatnot, but what I've noticed is people. Well, it first started off like not everyone who says that they're chosen aren't necessarily chosen, at least not chosen by Yahuwah, right? You know what the scripture says. Not everyone who says Lord, Lord, and well, I don't use that word, but that's what the scripture says. That Yahuwah, Yahuwah, that they would enter to the kingdom, right? And I from that, it's like what I see is there are people who, in fact, were called, right, and chosen, but they're not fully on board. You feel me? They're not fully on board. You'll have some saying, they're chosen, they was called, but they still celebrate pagan holidays, right? Or they're chosen, they called, but they still use the fake names. On this one right here, they're chosen, they're called, they're believers, but they still dibble and dabble in divination and sorcery. And I always reference that whole Glinda the Good Witch, and that's their rationale for using sorcery and divination for a so-called good. When the Bible clearly states that we're not to, um, that it's detestable witchcraft and divination and roots and witchcraft and all that is against Yah. But then we're not supposed to pay evil for evil. But their rationale is, well, they're doing it in the name of good. And a lot of that comes from our upbringing, passed on to us from our mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers and so forth. But that's wrong. And I don't care you. Well, grandma did it. Well, grandma was doing the wrong thing for 100 years, but it's wrong, right? If you got people holding on to things from Babylon or things from the Matrix, things from that's not from the Gentiles, things that's not a part of Yah's kingdom and being holy, right? Now, my big thing here that I want to talk about, and this is a stronghold for a lot of people. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is necessary. And a lot of people struggle with this. Hence why I think Yahuwah had me to go through it. So then I can talk to you all about it, about my experience with it. Because it's not easy. Not everyone can do it. Some of you all are being called. You're not only called and chosen, but you're being called to do certain things. Certain things are requested of you according to the scripture, and you're having a hard time dealing with it, doing it. And Yah showing you, giving you the signs that this needs to happen, but you fighting against it. And that thing is coming out being separated. And that just doesn't mean, yeah, it does mean from the matrix, from Babylon, from the world and worldly things. It means all that. But times it does mean from people you're around, close friends and family members. There's only two roads. There's the narrow road, there's the wide road. There's right, there's wrong. A lot of people want to stand around that lukewarm area. That's not such a thing in Yah's kingdom. Lukewarm, either hot or you cold. All right. First Corinthians chapter 10 verses 21. You cannot drink the cup of Yahuwah and the cup of the devil. Ye cannot eat at the table of Yahuwah and at the table of the devil. Some of y'all being called and chosen, and you're coming out of these pagan holiday stuff, but you're gonna go over to grandma's house and get a plate, that she cooked because she's celebrating Christmas or she's celebrating Easter. Well, I ain't stay there, but you eating at that table, even if you took it with you, that food was in preparation for in recognition of those deities, demonic deities that's behind them holidays. You come out from them. You can't do that. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17. Come out from among them and be ye separated. That was a good caveat. Set apart. We're to be set apart. You know, there's a saying that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, right? We were chosen by Yahuwah before we was even in our mother's womb, right? Not necessarily everybody in your family is going to be chosen. You, me, we was chosen out of our mama's womb. That goes right here to Jeremiah chapter 3, verses 14. Return home, you wayward children, says Yahuwah, for I am your master. I will bring you back I will bring you back to the land of Israel, Yasharel, one from his town and two from his family, from wherever you are scattered. So two from the family. He ain't say the whole family, two from the family. He gonna bring you out from among them. You feel me? So I know people want to hold on, and I know that trauma bond between the mama and daddy, the brothers to that family is strong. But you got to come up out of that. Pray fast. You got to come up, and it ain't easy. But you're being called to come out from it. And then you got Matthew chapter 10, verse 37. Anyone who loves their family more than me, Yahuwah, is not worthy of me. And the scripture actually reads, if you love your mother and father, you're not worthy of me. If you love your sister or your daughter, son, you're not worthy of me. So you want to put your family, and then people be like, oh, God ain't about that. He ain't want you separate from your family. No, he ain't. First and foremost, I can show you scriptures that say otherwise. Also, he says, lean not to your own understanding. That is in your own understanding because that ain't in the word. The word said, your enemy will be in your own household. Right here, I read you 10:37 of Matthew that if you love your family, your brother, sister more than him, you're not worthy of him. So a lot of us still want to hold on to that family dynamic. Oh, my sister's son having his 18th, 21st birthday party, and I'm just gonna go show my face. We ain't supposed to be celebrating birthdays. We ain't supposed to be doing that. Oh, they have an annual Halloween thing, with the kids. I'm just gonna take the kids over there. The kids want to dress up. They ain't gonna be dressing like no zombies and nothing. They be dressed like little angels and stuff. But you can't do that. We got to come out from among them. What part of being separated do you not understand? Huh? If my daddy would say, come on now, we got to come out from them. And it ain't easy. It's all you gonna cry, you gonna pray, it ain't easy, but it's a must. It's a necessity. Because what you're gonna find yourself is that all that being still up in the family, still up in there. That what someone said. How you gonna be all up in the same amongst the same people that broke you, that called out your butt gonna be pulled right on back into the matrix. Satan gonna use them folks because he ain't choose them, he chose you. So if a evil spirit can jump in one of them at any moment, and Satan gonna use them folks to pull your behind right on back into the matrix. And Yahuwah gonna sit back, my hands are tied. He want to be over there, let him be over there. You see? Now I hope people who need to hear this and get it and take heed to it. All right? All right.